studio. It's been quite a day for you, Carlos.
Yeah,
I've been monitoring right from the AM show. You've been reporting on how the process has been like. But currently, as we speak, is the water clean?
Yes, I mean, from the grounds, you can see the water clearing. When the technology was applied within the first hour, you could see the pollutants settling. So you could actually fetch the top part of the water, which is very clear. So, and then they also did another application yesterday. So if you compare the two, you realize that the one that was done yesterday is clearer, which tells that over time, the water clears. As to whether the heavy metals in there are also gone, that we cannot tell.
I see. And these early signs, they appear encouraging. I saw some visuals you posted for us earlier where, in fact, we could see clearly that there was changes in the water, and I could see someone drinking it immediately after.
Yes, indeed. Some of the officials themselves, they were very sure that what we were seeing was so clean and clear of any heavy metals. So a number of them drank it just to demonstrate to us that it's safe and all that, even though concerns about its an impact on health have been raised by some people. They believe that it's largely okay. But the EPA chief executive has been talking about that it will have to go through the Ghana Water Company treatment plant to make it safer for consumption. But as it stands now, the Ghana Standard Authority is saying they are testing. Ghana Water Research Institute themselves also were on the ground. They also took samples, and they are going through just to ascertain the levels of the heavy metal in the water. So, Joy News, we can say visibly you can see the water clearing, but we cannot say for a fact if the heavy metals are out of the water.
Indeed, and that's something we'll be delving into when we delve right into that conversation. But there's a price tag to this, and I'm quite concerned about the affordability of this. How much is this costing us to even run this pilot in the first place?
Well, she said a kilometer of the river travels a distance. So to treat each kilometer would cost $200,000. And what they are piloting now is actually from the EPA's own resources, 200,000. But if you calculate the length of the Birim River and put it together, it amounts to about $35 million if you want to clearly, clear the entire stretch of the river.
We can now listen to her.
We've been here for the past 1 hour, and the technology known as ionic nano copper technology has been applied to the Birim River. And if you know, the Birim River is a heavily polluted water body here in the eastern region, and thousands, if not millions, of Ghanaians rely on that particular body of water. Now, the Environmental Protection Authority is leading the charge to ensure that that water becomes cleaner for consumers. I am fortunate to have the two professors, Professor Nanama Brown-Kluche, she is the CEO of the Environmental Protection Authority, and Professor Ayamba, he is the Deputy CEO of the EPA. Now, let me come to you, Prof. You've applied the technology for the past 30 minutes. Show us the result.
Yeah, thank you, Carlos. So we did the application. 30 minutes later, we fetched the water from the top, and then we see this. This other one, you will think this is my drinking water. This is after 1 hour, 1 hour of applying the chemical. So we see the difference already. Very soon I've called for the original water that we treated to get to this level and this level of clearness, and then we can also show as well. So we see that the technology works. It's just a matter of, in a short time, we see clear difference between what we came to meet and where we have treated the water to.
Concerns have been raised about sustainability and cost. How sustainable is this?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier on, it took us about $200,000 to procure an amount that will clean 1 kilometer of every flowing river body. Birim River is about 175 kilometers. So we can do the mathematics. We are talking about $35 million. River Pra is 275 kilometers times $200,000. and Cobra is also about 240, 260 kilometers. You can also do the mathematics and see how much it will cost us to clean these major river bodies. Once we get the money, which of course we call for support from all bodies.
Well, civil society groups and medical experts, they welcome this initiative, but they're casting doubt on the innovation. While the Ghana Coalition Against Illegal Mining insists that stopping the pollution must come before investing in the cleanup technology. Let's listen to Kenneth Ashigbe, he's convener of the coalition.
So that's good. It will be good to also find out what then happens to the heavy metals that would be within the water bodies. And then you also would want to find out what the impact. I'm pretty sure that before this chemical should have been brought into this country, the impact on aquatic life and flora and fauna might have been tested. But it would be good within our context. But for me, the big thing again, and that I had a prof talk about the fact that they channel water somewhere, and clean it up, and then it comes back to join the system. Because my question I was asking was that how are you going to treat a river that is flowing, but it looks as if there might have to be some process of camping the water, ponding the water at a particular point, cleaning it, and then sending it back. But my question I would ask is that if we don't stop the pollution, if we keep on, continuing the pollution, then you're cleaning and then they are polluting it. So how do we make sure that that system is put in place to make sure that, there's no constant pollution of the water body? So
some will also argue that we should tackle the root cause, which is illegal mining, rather than tackling a secondary cause which has been brought about as a result of these illegal mining. So don't you think we should tackle the illegal mining rather than cleaning our water, which is caused by activities of illegal miners?
Well, I agree that we need to, you need to do a root cause analysis and make sure that you're dealing with the cause of this, But as you do that, and again, it is not, you wouldn't say that they are mutually exclusive, because again, as we say, this is a process that is taking place. So now we have demonstrated that we can actually deal with the turbidity. I know you have a scientist, I'm sure you come talking about the science. We need to determine how we deal with also the level of heavy metals that are actually in the waters and all of that. But, if you don't deal with the root cause and you deal with only the symptoms of cleaning up the water, then it will be akin to taking a basket to this riverside and, hoping that you're going to get some water. So we need to definitely deal with the root cause of this, which is the illegal mining. We need to deal with that as we also clean up the water, processes, and then we restore our lands, restore our forests, and make sure that at least once you've cleaned it, people can now go back. Well, water is life. Water is life. So definitely it is worth it. But the point that you should be asking is that the polluter pay principle should be applying. Who should be paying for this damage that has been done?
Well, let's listen now to a forensic pathologist. He is Professor Paul Poku-Sempene. He has actually been explaining what all this means, but he's uncertain whether the new technology can effectively remove heavy metals from polluted water bodies. Let's listen.
To, as it were, purify water bodies that have been contaminated with heavy metals, then I don't know how we are going about it. But then my worry is purely on the health issues as far as human is concerned, because when bioaccumulated can cause a whole lot of things in the GIT,
right?
the neuro, the CNS of the human body, and then so many other things that can cause. In fact, the kidney, the liver, and all those things can be affected, especially when it is not well managed in the water bodies and how we are going to use them.
How then do we get rid of the heavy metals in the water bodies?
Well, I think there are a lot of methods that can be used, but in the interim, if they want to use this one, fine. But there are a lot of methods which, of course, I believe that the minister is aware of, and I believe that he can actually, speak to that. And the other scientists who are also working into those things. So I believe that there are a lot of remediation methods that can be used actually. Or that is usually used. And so therefore, I believe you should be able to tell us. But I don't believe in this ionic copper nanotechnology. I don't think that's the best way to go.
Well, you heard there, Professor Symphony. Well, let me bring in now Professor Michael Ayamga. He's Deputy CEO of EPA and he's in charge of operations. I appreciate your time here on Top Story. I also have joined the conversation Awula Sewa. She's coordinator of Eco-Conscious Citizens. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to start with Professor Michael Ayamga. I'm just wondering how this process went based on your analysis. You were on the ground today together with your CEO. How was it?
Yeah, thank you. Good evening. Thank you for having me. Yes, I think it worked to our expectation. We had a lot of questions, especially at the time I led a delegation of stakeholders to Malaysia to examine the technology for the first time. I had the same questions that your panelists have all raised. I had questions about the implications for life in the water bodies. I had questions on how we're going to apply it as far as the technology is concerned. I had questions on the residual effect of the heavy metals. And I went there, I saw the technology. I was a bit skeptical. So even when we went there, we took samples. I went with the Water Resources Commission and Ghana Water Company. We took samples to run a series of tests to be sure that we can confirm the results that were being presented to us. So I'm extremely happy that we are raising these questions. As a researcher myself, I believe that this is an attempt to improve the practice and make sure that we are not putting something in our water bodies that would eventually harm the Ghanaian public.
Were your questions answered at least? Do you know if the water is safe after treatment for drinking?
Yes, the water is safe. If you look at the pathogens, we found them almost non-existent. For heavy metals, they were all in trace levels. That is, for most of them, the levels were negligible. So that has been consistent in all the tests that have been run. The other problem, which we mentioned during the lunch, was that as it cleans even the heavy metals, it also takes out some vital minerals in water that are required, things like manganese and zinc that the human body requires them in trace amounts. And we think that at a certain point in time, if we are to use it to pre-treat drinking water, then the water company has to add these elements back at a certain point in time to make sure that people who were drinking the water at least were adequately refreshed and didn't miss out on it. So, yes, those are concerns that we have, and we see that as a way out. As to the extent to which it disturbs life forms in the water body, as one of your panelists is talking, we have not observed any significant disruption of life in the water bodies. You need to get to see those waters, and you marvel whether there can be any life form inside them. So after cleaning it, at least we're happy to see that we're beginning to see some of these life forms emerging. Of course, yes, we ourselves are still just to rule out any doubt, still running some tests just to confirm for ourselves. But this is not the first time that we are going to have such an application. We are not the first nation to do it. It has been tried in some jurisdictions, and we are drawing lessons from there. But that's not to say the questions that are being raised, we didn't have them. We had them. And today, you would notice that we went there, of course, with the Ghana Standards Authority. We went there with the Water Resources Commission, the Water Research Institute. All these stakeholders were there to pilot it and to take the steps further to just rule out any adverse effect as far as this technology is concerned.
Then you tell us that the levels of heavy metals are negligible, but this means that they are present. And this is actually following the skepticism that we heard from the forensic pathologist that the technology does not eliminate heavy metals.
I said that that is at least from a scientific perspective, but their levels are comparable to the standards of water that we treat for drinking. That's what I can say, for example, that others have even said it is safe to drink, just that you cannot get the minerals you would have gotten from treated water. It is the level so low to the point that they are almost unobservable or not measurable, or let me say detectable to a certain degree. That is what we are currently finding as far as this technology is concerned.
We also heard from the pathologist that long-term consumption of this water that has been treated could lead to oxidative stress in the long term. You tell us that the Ghana Standards Authority will be testing it. How soon will the test be ready?
As you saw in the process, we were taking samples. We have been taking the samples over several months now, and various tests are ongoing. And we are doing this just to reassure the Ghanaian public and to reassure end users of this water and the water bodies that it is safe. But as I did indicate, there are lessons we are drawing from other jurisdictions, and we want to use that to improve the practice. I believe that we can answer almost 99.9% of the questions now. The 0.1% left is what we want to do just for certainty and out of abundance of caution. And that's why we are proceeding this way.
And then how much is this costing us long term? I know you're starting with the Birim River, but you have planned to scale it up. How much would it cost us, and what's the roadmap to other areas?
As many have indicated, we are saying that when you are sick, you look for the cure, and then you also explore painkillers, sometimes to manage the pain, the immediate pain associated with the disease. I think that this cleaning is more or less trying to solve the short to medium-term challenges we face with the turbidity in our water level. The long-term solution is we actually dealing with the source of the pollution, which government has been doing and has been making significant strides as far as managing this is concerned. Yes, in terms of cost, to clean a kilometer of a river, we require about $200,000. So that is what the EPA financed for this pilot. We thinking that if you try to optimize it and use other methods such as applying at significant intervals, there is the possibility that you could significantly halve this cost. So the optimization of the process is still ongoing. But as far as the basic approach is concerned, that which is what we are using, it will cost us about $200,000 to clean a kilometer. If you take the Birim, for example, that is about 175 kilometers long, we are expecting that to clean it, you need $35 million. That is a huge amount, but that is a question we will have to ask. Is it worth doing, or is it worth allowing our citizens and the rest of us to suffer from the consequences of the heavy metals in the water? That is a question for all of us to answer. We want to explore solutions and we want to explore options, and that is what we have just done.
Prof, stay with me because I'll come to you for timelines as to when you plan to scale it up. I'll also come to you because there are concerns that some of these water sources, they actually migrate from one source to the other. So at what point will you administer a new nanotechnology, at what point and at what level? We'll get into that, but let me bring in Awola Sewa. She's with the Eco-Conscious Citizens. Awola, I appreciate your time and your patience. Join us here on Top Story. This intervention, is it really a turning point in the fight against illegal mining?
Well, you see, what has to happen right now is that we need to stop the pollution. You see, illegal mining, irresponsible mining is what is causing the existential threat. Our focus should be on stopping the pollution. it's great that the EPA wants to do something, but if you look at it, how sustainable is it? 200,000 for 1 kilometer of water. We don't know what all the effects are going to be. So I think all hands on deck, declare a targeted state of emergency, send your Navy on all the water bodies, stop the diversions, remove the transfers, and then when we've stopped the pollution, then we can start treating the water. And then, as my brother Ken said, we have to have the polluted principle. So those who are polluted should be funding the cost. I'm afraid I have to run, but we need to seriously stop the pollution. And it is unacceptable that after Joy's expose, the DCE is then opposed. When transfers that are banned were being licensed, it doesn't look like we are serious about ending the ecocide. And this exercise, though it has very good intentions, I'm afraid it's not going to solve the problem.
Thank you so much, Awola. I know you have to go, so I'll let you go. But I still have with me Professor Michael Yamga. We're just hearing from eco-conscious citizens, and they agree with you, really, that the long-term solution to dealing with this is to actually deal with the root cause of illegal mining. But let's delve into finances. We know this is cost-intensive. Do you have the money for the next pilot or the next test, if you may?
We are exploring options, and this is where we all go back to our father, His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. There has never been a point we go to him as far as galamsey is concerned, and he disappoints us. I believe that if we answer all our questions, dot our I's, cross our T's, and tell him, Your Excellency, this is what we think can give us a reprieve, I'm very certain that His Excellency would listen to us. We are also thinking of various alternatives. And one of the things my boss, Professor Nana Ama Brankuti, said during the pilot is the idea of getting small-scale miners and people discharge water into the water bodies to pre-treat it with this before they discharge it. If we are able to deploy it at that level, we will significantly reduce the quantum of filth and heavy metals that are getting into these water bodies. Then the essence or the need to clean the river in its entirety will significantly reduce. So that is one option we are looking at. I also agree perfectly. Polluter pay principles. We need to explore them. That those who are actually at the forefront of this industry contributing to the pollution have to be ready to support this. If it works, I expect mining entities, I expect the Gold Board and the Chamber of Mines and all other stakeholders in this to come on board to support the EPA and its partner agencies to push this to the next level. But we are thinking of definitely looking at where to deploy it most. First, the river is an option. Second, trying to pre-treat. So if we can get galamseyers that are legalized to apply this to their sludge and treat maybe the water before they allow it to get into the open environment, that would be fine. But still, we have to stop the pollution. And that can only be achieved through, yes, stopping illegal mining, regulating wherever we can, and also helping people to mine sustainably. If we put all these things together, I'm very certain that we can significantly reduce the impact of mining on our open environment.
And Prof, really quickly before I let you go, when next will your next testing be, and where will be the location?
Yes, we still want to do a couple of tests. We are going to go back on site a number of times to see what has happened after this treatment. We have taken some samples for testing. The other agencies will also look at them. We will make debrief, potentially brief the president on what we are finding. Then we take it out from there. But I'm quite sure that within the next few weeks, we will go off to site 2 to try the technology again.
So the timeline is within how many weeks before you finish your report and submit it to the president?
I can be certain that within the next week we'll be making another trial. But after that, yes, once we still have some of the material left and polluted river bodies around, don't be surprised to see us at another location. We will definitely brief you when we take off, but it's not going to be a long time.
Thank you so much, Professor Michael Ayam, Deputy CEO of the EPA in charge of operations. My name is Fostina Sarfo, and that's how we wrap up Top Story. Up next is Newsnight.